Hi, I'm Corolla on socials. I'm at From Corolla. In this video, I wanted to go over some of the Tom Studio products that I own, just in case it's helpful if you're considering pens from Tom Studio. We're going to do a drawing and writing sample, and I'll talk to you a little bit about each pen, how you fill them up, and what I like about them. So let's get into it. So at the time of the filming, I am an ambassador for Tom Studio. So if you do want a code for ordering from Tom Studio, take a look at the description. So I did a separate video on the Field Mouse, which is the most recent release from Tom Studio at the time of my filming this video. And it is the smallest pen that I have ever seen. It is the smallest pen that I own. And it's a great portable little tool to have if you're traveling or you're on the go, and you can add the loop cap to your keychain, or in my case, I added it to my traveler's notebook passport size. And it's just kind of great to have if you want to jot down notes or do a little bit of doodling. And so do take a look at my other video if you want a closer look at the Field Mouse. What I wanted to do today was talk to you about the Lumos Pro Duo, which is a dual tip refillable pen, and the Lumos Mini, which has one tip that you can add to it. So it's basically half of the Lumos Pro Duo. I also wanted to talk about the Wren and the fountain pen from Tom Studio with a titanium flex nib. And so we're going to just talk about each pen a little bit more in detail, and then do a writing test to show you how they write. So first I wanted to talk about the Lumos Pro Duo. This one was sent to me by Tom Studio to test out and to create some content. And it's very interesting because it allows you to have a dual tip pen, and they're refillable. And so what that means is that you can essentially choose two different writing tips for your pen. When you get the Lumos, you get it in this really nice box, always aesthetically pleasing. And in the box you'll find a 3 milliliter black ink vial. And so you can use this ink to fill the reservoir for your pen, or you can use a standard fountain pen ink. Just don't use a shimmer or a calligraphy ink because that could block your tip. You also get this little silicone grip. And so this is very useful if you want to change out the writing tips and they have ink in them. And so you're not touching the tip and getting ink all over your fingers. You could just gently grip them with a silicone grip. It's just something I didn't know that I needed, and yet I used it quite a bit. So it also comes with instructions and just tips on how to fill up your pen. So you don't have to worry, everything is explained to you. But I will also sort of walk you through it. So the cool thing is that they include Lumos full tip set with your Lumos. So if you open that up, you will get a variety of tips. And I love this because depending on your writing style and what you want to use the Lumos for, you can pick out whichever tips you want to use. And so they're kind of just nestled in here, and you can just pop one out and then put it into your pen. So you do have dual tips because on the cap end, you can unscrew the cap and you can have writing tip ready to go. And so you can just use it like this. For mine, I put in the 0.2 millimeter fine liner tip. And if you want to use both ends or you want to use the other side, you simply unscrew this end. And this second tip is sort of nestled in here. And so what you do is you screw in this side to the pen, and so it's a full length pen again. And so you can use this side comfortably. And for mine, I put in the brush tip. And so you could have, you know, a fine liner on one side, a brush tip on the other side, and just kind of use it as you go. And so to fill the reservoirs, you simply unscrew this piece right here. And so it has grooves that allow you to grip easily. And at some point, it's going to feel comfortable to pull it up. And as you pull it out, the reservoir will come with it. And so this is the reservoir part, is what you put into your ink to fill it up. And so it will soak up with ink, and you can then insert the writing tip. And so once you fill the reservoir with ink, you can screw it in and it's ready to go. And in order to change out the writing tips, so for example, if you wanted the fine liner tip, all you do is unscrew this piece here. I'm trying not to get ink on my finger. There you go. And then you can put the writing tip through here. There's a hole there, right? So you can put the writing tip through there. And what it does is it will insert in here. It will insert in here and directly pull, with the feed, it will pull ink. And then you carefully have to screw this back in. So once it's screwed in, it's ready to go. And again, you can screw in the cap when you're not using it. And so when you're not using it, it's sort of the standard sort of long size pen ready to go. So the great thing is that it is refillable once you've used up the ink, and you can re-soak it into your ink, or you can flush it out or wash it and flush out any residual ink and then dip it into an ink of your choice. If you are changing colors, I would recommend that you get a set of the reservoir wicks, and you can get these from Tom Studio for the pen that you have, and that way you can use different inks at the same time. You can sort of mix and match as you go. When you're not using the wicks, you can put them into an empty ink vial or a small jar, and then use them another time if you want to. And these wicks will last for a few months, I think. According to the Tom Studio website, it will last for a few months. And the writing tips too are, I guess they will last, until they sort of don't soak in ink anymore. I haven't come to that point yet, but it's something to keep in mind that it will last for a while. And the writing tips too, they should last, depending on how often you use them, I guess, and how hard you sort of grip. I would use them very gently. But if you do need to, replace them, you can get replacement tips. So this is the Lumos Pro Duo. The other Lumos I have is the Lumos Mini, and this I purchased a little while ago. And it's basically, half of the Lumos Duo. So if you just want to have one writing tip, and it's a little bit more portable than the full sort of Pro, you can get the Mini. And this way you have a cap. You can pick whichever writing tip you want to use. They use the same writing tips, or the tip set is the same as with the Pro. And so you get the same thing with the Lumos Mini that you get with the Lumos Pro. You get a full tip set, and then you get a little ink vial that you can use in your pen. You can also use a standard fountain pen ink. The add-on I put in with my pen is this loop cap or loop end. So the add-on for my pen is the loop end. And it just allows you to add it to a keyring if you want, or, to add it to a notebook. I just have a cute little emoji from the Coffee Monsters Co. attached to it. And so those are the two Lumos that I have, and I'll show you how they write. So in my plotter, I'm using DP paper, which I find fountain pen friendly, and it's very smooth to write on. So I'll show you how both of these write. Actually, first, let's write with the Lumos Mini. The tip that I have in here is the 0.3 millimeter. And I actually used a standard fountain pen ink that I have. And so you can as well. And I like it because it's a portable pen, but it's still comfortable to hold. And it's still comfortable to write and draw with. And the ink that I have in here, if you're curious, is Sailor Shikiri Yunaga. And it's a really nice blue ink. With the Lumos Pro Duo, I decided to go with two different tips. So on one end, I have a brush tip, and I actually used the ink that comes with the Lumos to fill it up. And so it's just a standard black ink, but it's very nice and stands out. And so if you're, drawing or you're sketching, it's nice to kind of have those lines. And of course, if you're into brush lettering or doing headers in your planner or something like that, it's useful to have that on one side. And then on the other end with the cap, I have a 0.2 millimeter tip. And so it's very fine writing. And I actually used a fountain pen ink from Tom's Studio that I have. And it is called Neptune. So if you're interested, you can also get this from Tom's Studio. It's a really, really nice teal color. So this is 0.2 millimeter. And so it's very fine. You can see the difference between the two fine liners. So that's a cool thing. You can use your fountain pen inks in these pens, which I really appreciate because as a fountain pen user, I have a lot of inks lying around. I have a lot of bottles of inks, and so being able to use standard fountain pen inks in these pens and having them be refillable and interchangeable as well is very useful for me. So the other two products that I have from Tom Studio is the Wren and the fountain pen. So let's talk about the Wren. It's very small, very portable. It's smaller than the Lumos Mini. And it's quite nice because the cap is made from recycled plastics. And I like this one because it has all sorts of materials and colors that you can see. And then I got to choose the actual metal. So I went with, I think it's called Iris. It's like a very deep purple, which is very nice. And so it sits nestled in this cap with these silicone rings. And that's what seals it and keeps it from drying out. And so if you do use it quite frequently, then you'll be able to you'll be able to use this no problem. And so what you do is you just put it into the cap, and the rings will keep it in place again. And so it's a very comfortable sort of pocket pen, I would say. It comes with writing tips, and it's the same writing tips as the field mouse. And so if you watched my field mouse video, I did a writing sample with it, and this is basically the same tip in a different pen. So with this one, if you want to refill the reservoir or the wick, you can unscrew it at the top here. And so when you do, it will pop out like so. And this wick you can dip into your fountain pen inks, sorry. And for mine, I used a Tom Studio fountain pen ink called Iris. Number 11. So if you're interested, you can also get this from Tom Studio. It's a really nice purple color. And so I thought it'd be a nice match for this pen. So if we do a quick writing and drawing test. So that's with the writing tip, which is very comfortable to write and draw with. In terms of the pen being comfortable, I like how portable it is, while also when you're holding it, it feels very comfortable to hold. The last pen I want to show you is the fountain pen from Tom Studio. It's a pocket pen. So similar to the Wren, the pen sits nestled in its own cap with silicone rings. And so this is what keeps it in the cap, and also it keeps it airtight. So cuts down on it being, or it wouldn't dry out, I guess. And so again, similar to the Wren, you can put the pen into the cap, and this is what turns it into a standard size pen. And so the nib that I have in here, you can get, standard nibs. So, a fine, medium, broad. But I went with a titanium flex because I was very curious about this. And so when I got this pen, I decided to try a different nib. And before I do writing with it, it comes with a short cartridge, which you can refill with, a standard fountain pen ink. It also comes with this really handy eyedropper, and so you can use this to, get ink into the reservoir here, or pull it up into the cartridge here, and then insert it directly into the small cartridge. So it cuts down on messiness and, having to touch ink and getting ink all over your fingers. So I actually used a diamine fountain pen ink called Onyx Black, and it's a very nice black color. So that's what I went with. So it's very easy to fill it with ink, and it's quite comfortable to hold. So I'll show you in terms of drawing with it. So I think I'm running out of ink, so we'll just kind of have to try it out. It has a little bit of flex. It's kind of quite fun to write with, and if you want to draw with it as well or sketch, it can give you different lines depending on what you want it to look like. And so it's kind of interesting and fun to write and draw with. And so if you want to take the cap off, you can place it back on the top and just slide it in. And now you have a pocket pen ready to go. So my thoughts on Tom Studio pens is I think it's such a great usefulness to have pens that you can fill with fountain pen inks, but they're not fountain pens. So you can have a fine liner and you can have brush tips, all kinds of different tips. I love that there's a whole tip set that is provided for you. So depending on your style and the purpose of the pen to you, I think you can sort of customize it in that way. And I also love that you can interchange different colors of inks if you want to. And just, if you do, you can keep the wicks in little jars or empty ink vials for another time when you feel like using that color. If it dries out, you can also refill it with ink, or you can flush it with water and change out the color that way. And for me personally, I like that the Pro Duo Lumos, the Lumos Pro Duo has 2 tips that you can work with. And for me, I find it really useful to have my sort of daily writer on one end with a cap, and then have something that I can use as a secondary tool if I need to occasionally on the other side. I also like the Lumos Mini for portability and to take it to go. But in my recent video, I did share that I really enjoy the Field Mouse, which is a newer product because it truly is portable and sort of a travel companion. So those are the Tom Studio pens that I have. If you have any questions, let me know. I hope this was helpful if you're considering getting any of these pens, and if you're wondering how you fill them up and how you use the refillable reservoirs and the wicks, then I hope it was kind of helpful in that way. So those are my thoughts. Thank you so much for joining me. If you have any questions, let me know. If you use these products and you like them, let me know how you use them yourself. And I'll see you in another video, okay? Bye.